Welcome back to the Warbird Mistress. Today is Thursday the 9th of April, 1942, and this is a walk through the war. First, I want to remind everybody, if you're not subscribed, please hit that button down there. And now you can also hit join to add your support to the Warbird Mistress channel and also to get some free mailings, other merchandise, and a special shout out to those who joined at the highest level, the squadron leader level. I'm actually surprised that I already have 3 members, so let's hopefully see those numbers grow just like with subscriptions, and always hit that bell for notifications. So moving back to Thursday the 9th of April, in the zone of the interior at the headquarters of the Army Air Forces, the 8th Air Force Headquarters Echelon moves from Savannah Army Air Base to Bowling Field, Washington, as they prepare to move overseas to take on their role with Army Air Forces in the UK. The 1st Air Force's 78th Bombardment Squadron Medium of the 45th Bombardment Group Medium transfers from Grenier Field, Manchester, New Hampshire, to Langley Field, Hampton, Virginia, with A-20 and DB-7 Havocs and B-18 Bolos, as they continue to patrol the Atlantic for Donitz's subs. Moving to the Southwest Pacific area with the 5th Air Force, a day after their first sortie, the 2nd Medium Bombardment Squadron of the 22nd Bombardment Group Medium transfers from Townsville to Reed River between Townsville and Charter Towers with their B-26 Marauders. Also, the 7th Pursuit Squadron Interceptor of the 49th Pursuit Group Interceptor transfers from Bankston to Bachelor Field, Australia, with P-40 Warhawks, and they continue their string of sorties that began nearly a month ago on 14 March. Saving the worst news for last, the Japanese offensive against Bataan is completed today, and the American and Filipino forces on the peninsula surrender unconditionally, ending their 3 months of holding out in the natural redoubt. By the end of the day, Japanese artillery units move forward, and they fire on Corregidor as the hum of Sallies, Nels, Vals, and Bettys can be heard overhead as the Japanese step up the aerial bombardment of the island fortress and provide an ominous symphony of destruction to accompany the beginning of the Bataan Death March. And with that, we move to Friday, the 10th of April, 1942, where in the American Theater of Operations with the 4th Air Force on the West Coast, the 2nd Reconnaissance Squadron Heavy of the 30th Bombardment Group Heavy, flying anti-sub patrols from Hammer Field and Fresno, sends a detachment of their LB-30 Liberators to Naval Air Station San Diego to stretch American assets against any potential threat of Japanese submarines taking lessons from their German allies, who are currently wreaking havoc in the Atlantic and Caribbean. For note, the LB-30s were 75 of the 165 RAF Liberator B Mark IIs, which were requisitioned following Pearl Harbor. In the PTO, 15 served in the Southwest Pacific area, 3 served in Alaska, another half-dozen served on the Pacific coast, before being sent in June of 42 to reinforce Midway against any potential second Japanese attack. They had self-sealing fuel tanks, heavier armor than the pre-production models in B-24As, and a longer nose than other B-24s, all to meet the RAF's needs. However, these carried American Ma-Deuce 50 cal guns rather than British 303s, and they had a Martin turret rather than a bolt and pole turret in the dorsal position, while eschewing the tail turret with its quad mount for a twin, manually trainable 50 cal position. The empennage is also slightly deeper, so they're not quite B-24s. And with that, we skip over the 11th of April, where the diaries are empty, and move to Sunday, the 12th of April, 1942, where with the Southwest Pacific Area's 5th Air Force, the 18th Reconnaissance Squadron Medium of the 22nd Bombardment Group Medium transfers from Townsville to Reed River, with their B-26s joining their comrades, and the Australia-based B-25s, staged through the few remaining unoccupied spots on Mindanao Island, strikes against Cebu. They hit the harbor and shipping at Cebu Island, while 2 B-17s carry out single bomber strikes from Mindanao against Cebu Harbor and against Nichols Field on Luzon. And finally moving to the headquarters of the Army Air Forces with the Zone of the Interior, and also in London with the Army Air Forces in the UK, Lieutenant General Henry Hap Arnold sends air plans for Operation Bolero to General George C. Marshall in London. Operation Bolero is the build-up of U.S. armed forces in the UK for an attack on Europe, to which Hap Arnold has added the air portion of the plans. This is the formal manifestation of the plans to establish the 8th Air Force in the UK in preparation for combat operations, especially strategic bombing against the Axis powers. And with that, we conclude this walk through the war. If you're just joining us in recent ones, you can always check out the playlist and see which ones you missed. And again, thank you to Patreon patrons, YouTube members, and everyone else who offers their support through likes, comments, shares. Especially sharing is one of the biggest ways to get viewership up and to really build up the community here on the channel. And I look forward to hearing from all of you in the comments. Until then, this is Claire, and I am the Warbird Mistress. Take care.